I'm Sierra Liggett and welcome to my channel. For Labor Day weekend 2020, we thought we would attempt a 3-day kayak trip down the Huron River in Michigan. Our trip was riddled with longer than expected portages, flying fish in our boats, motorboats trying to slow us down, and having a rider go homesick in the middle of the trip. Can we make it to the end of the trip? How do you camp with kayaks? Wait, a fish jumped into the boat? Our adventure begins at the Hudson Mills Metropark in Dexter, Michigan, where we start our trip in high spirits with high expectations. Along the way, we saw plenty of wildlife, from bald eagles and cranes, to deer, to turtles and other water animals. Let's hit the water. After a while on the water, we finally made it to our first set of rapids. The water levels were quite low and we were moving around 6 to 9 miles per hour, but we were still nervous attempting the rapids with a canoe in tow. Will our canoe make it? Well, everyone besides my husband got stuck, but we all made it. We are now at the Barton Portage. Despite the length of the walk, this portage does have a ramp to guide your boat down. At this point, most of us were ready for another snack. I would highly recommend packing lots of extra snacks that are easy to access and easy to eat on the water. As you can see, the portage is a small dock on the right-hand side, and it's quite a walk down to the other end. My GoPro battery was starting to get low, so I stopped recording around this point, but it didn't take us much longer to get to the Argo Cascades, a popular tubing spot in the summer. It was closed to tubers and swimmers that year, but we were still able to get through. The Gallup Park Dam was quite a hike to get around, but we were having to trek on if we want to make it to our camp spot before dark. Just before you get to the Superior Dam, you can actually see a very large estate owned by the Ford family. At this point, we were starting to lose light very quickly, and we were nervous to be caught on the water at night. I knew my GoPro wouldn't be able to film much after Peninsular Paper Dam, so I kept it put away while we tried to pick up even more speed. We ended up having to paddle for a while longer on the water after dark. There were bugs like crazy, and fish jumping out of the water to catch the bugs. One ended up right in our canoe, while another smacked the front of my kayak. Our final destination for the day was a little island in the middle of Ford Lake. Despite being a state park, we didn't find out until the next morning that camping was not advised on the island. The next morning, the water was beautiful, the weather was amazing, and we were ready to hit the water after our instant coffee and our little breakfast. Little did we know of what was to come next. So I realized I haven't vlogged at all this trip, and I wanted to chime in to say that we are on day 2. We have canoed 30 miles, 14 hours. That was all yesterday. Today is not nearly as rough. It's 5 hours, which I think it's going to take a lot longer than that because we didn't realize how long the walks were at the dams. So we're at our first dam today, and we have 2 more to go. We ended up calling my dad to come pick us up at the second one to take us to the portage because that's a 1,000 feet walk, and we don't want to do that with 2 kayaks and a canoe. Day 2 consisted entirely of Ford Lake and Belva Lake. We didn't find out until later that kayaks are kind of hated on these lakes. The story we were told is that motorized boats have to pay for a pass, whereas kayaks don't, causing much rivalry between the boats and the kayaks. Boats would fly past us to get us stuck in their wake, which made it take hours to even get to the next dam. Thankfully, my parents were there to pick us up. We found out that the portage was a bit too long to walk a canoe and 2 kayaks, so we ended up having them just take us straight to camp for the next night. Good morning, friends. Today is day 3. I feel like I'm just gonna hear your crunching when I go back over this. Today is day 3. Brandon bailed on us last night. He went home
because he was incredibly sick.
But our friends that were supposed to come on the trip and they decided that this was gonna be way too long, they actually showed up and hung out for a bit last night, so that was great. We have, you said 26 miles?
Mm-hmm.
26 miles, all river today, 1 dam. This should be a breeze. Yesterday we did Ford Lake and Belleville Lake, and that was awful.
10 miles of stagnant water.
Yeah.
With motorboats.
With motorboats. Vicious motorboats. So,
On a dam, not in portage.
yeah, this Huron River Water Trail in Wayne County, all of the dams here suck. So if you're watching this because you want to plan a trip, be prepared.
Kayaks.
Don't canoe. Don't canoe unless you have somebody to pick you up at almost every dam. We ended up being quite tired. We thought we had more energy for this trip than we did. The unexpected thunderstorm gave us a bit more speed on the water the next day, so we were able to take it slow. But when we got to the incredibly long portage at Huron Park, we decided that we would just call it quits. We never did make it back to finish the trip to Lake Erie, but the sights and the memories that were made this trip will be treasured forever. Both. You're so handsome.
Ramen speed.